my host who received me took me to a football pitch to go and play football. We got there, and I think there were about almost 50 Ghanaians on the pitch.
Wow, in Winnipeg.
Yeah,
50 Ghanaians in Winnipeg.
And I remember I was like, are all these people Ghanaians? It's like, yeah. They showed up, we played football, then everybody dispersed. I was like, wow, so there's actually a community out here.
Yes. What was the transition like in the thought process of moving to Canada?
Cool, but I'm going there because that's where I want to be.
Wow.
But I got here, and trust me, the code, I realized I wasn't ready. The plan is to be here, take advantage of the opportunities that exist here. Then hopefully maybe stay. So staying is an option.
All right, hello everyone, and once again, welcome to Presenting Canada to the World. And today we have a very special guest, and he's coming all the way from Edmonton, precisely Winnipeg, right?
Yeah, from Manitoba.
Oh, Manitoba.
Yeah, so, Manitoba, Winnipeg.
Yes, we have our brother Evans here, and he also has a YouTube channel. So he's going to give us all the details about it. He talks a lot about international students, scholarships, and applications. So without further delay, brother Evans, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience, and also give us a bit of a background where you went to school in Ghana and where you're from in Ghana.
Oh, nice meeting you, Kwabena. So just a little bit about myself. I'm Evans. I studied at Opokuwari.
You want your voice to go up a little bit?
Yeah, so I'm Evans Boateng. I studied at Opokuwari, so I'm Okatechi. I'm a trained, I always say, I'm educated agriculturist because I did agric science, and I went on to do electrical engineering at the university. So I'm an electrical engineer, but for the last decade, I've been practicing as a marketer. So before moving to Canada, I was working in the telecommunication industry in Ghana as a marketing professional. Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm someone who loves traveling, so that's where the passion to start a YouTube page actually came from.
Yeah. But what is your YouTube channel name though, so the audience can also subscribe?
Oh, so it's Apisibey, Apisibey.
Okay, so make sure you subscribe, and he has a very great content there. So thank you very much for the introduction. And when precisely did you come to Canada, Evans?
Oh, so for me, I landed last year, August. Yeah.
Last year, August, okay.
Yeah, precisely 17th of August. That was when I set foot in Canada.
Wow, wow, wow. And currently, which school are you going into, or what are you doing in Winnipeg?
Oh, so Winnipeg, I'm with U of W. So there's a department called PACE, that's professional learning. So it's more of a management program that I'm taking with U of W, University of Winnipeg. Yeah.
Okay. So if I'm not, you're doing your master's, right? Correct?
Yeah. No, I already have an MBA. So this is more of another management program on top of this one.
And with the masters, did you do it? You must have done it in Ghana, I assume then.
Yeah, I did it in Ghana.
Nice. Okay, so what was the thinking process? I mean, you have a good job in Ghana, working with the telecommunication. I read a little bit about yourself. You're heavily involved with all these MTNs and other, phone companies. So what was the transition like and the thought process of moving to Canada?
So for me, I've always, like I said, I've always loved traveling. So
yes.
I've always loved to see most of the world, because I believe the world is like a book, and if you don't travel around, you are just stuck on just one page of it.
Yes.
And Canada, for me, was a place that I felt, just reading about it, it felt like a place where you can easily retire to, if I can put it that way. And at some point, I researched into studying too, because I had been out of school for almost a decade and wanted to go back to school.
Right.
So I said, why not kill two birds with one stone? Because I was looking at just taking a sabbatical just some time off work. And I was like, then I can also use the same time to maybe study. And there's also the other leg of, Canada. If you enter here and you stay, the passport in a way opens up more opportunities for you. And now someone who loves traveling.
Yes.
The difficult part mostly is just queuing for the visas and sometimes queuing at the airports.
Yes.
But when you have some books, you just get to the airport and you just swipe and you are gone.
Here you go.
Yeah. So
I'm not mad at you.
Yeah, that's where Canada came in.
Are you here with your family or just you by yourself?
Oh, just by myself.
Or just by yourself.
Yeah.
So living in Canada for the first year, how was the transition for you though? There must have been some cultural shocks. If there's anyone that you would like to highlight specifically in the Winnipeg area.
Oh, for me, when it comes to the shock, where do I even start from? Before moving to Canada, I'm somebody who had traveled around a lot. So I remember I'm someone who actually chose Winnipeg because of the code. I was like, it's cold, but I'm going there because that's where I want to be.
Wow.
But I got here and trust me, the code, I realized I wasn't ready, to be frank with you, because I had last 2 years I backpacked across Europe during the winter.
Yes.
And in my mind, if I could do that one, then I can survive Canada cold. But when it hit my nose 32 here, I realized I wasn't ready.
You're not ready, though. And it's funny though, because it doesn't matter how long you've lived here. Like every single season or winter is different, so you can never be fully ready. Yeah. And currently, are you actually working currently though? Because I know the government has this new initiative where students can actually work more hours now. Are you currently working?
Yeah, I'm currently working.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, I work with Bell, so.
Okay. And also you have the YouTube channel going on as well. Yeah. So what are your long-term plans for Canada? I know you talk a little bit about the passport aspect and giving you easy access. What is still the long-term plan if you decide to stay for long-term?
So for me, I'm one person, I don't look beyond so much into the future. So for now, my main goal now is just finishing the course.
Okay.
Yeah, then after that, I look beyond that one and see what Canada has to offer, because I'm learning as I move along, and every day I learn something new, and I keep always shifting the plan that I came in with. My initial plan was to come in, just visit and go back. That was even before the COVID hit.
Yes.
And COVID hit, and a lot of things changed. And even since I've been here, the more I learn, the more the plans that I have keeps moving around. But at least the plan is to be here, take advantage of the opportunities that exist here, then hopefully maybe stay. So staying is an option. Then also after school, you look at other opportunities that opens up to you. So then you make the decision whether to stay here or just move out.
Yeah, and speaking of opportunities now, there's a friend of mine who always say Canada is the land of unlimited opportunities. Yeah. Can you talk about some of the opportunities that you foresee after graduation, if you can touch a little bit on that, based on your research and what you have heard and seen so far?
So for me, in terms of opportunities, one thing I've realized when I came here, so the class that I'm in, there are about 17 different nationalities.
Okay.
So getting that chance to meet people from different countries, you learn a lot from every single person in that class. You learn about cultures, and you learn to be very appreciative of other people's cultures. And it also teaches you a lot about yourself, how to be tolerant. Because you realize that one thing that works in your country doesn't work in other places.
Yes.
And also in the classes that we've gone through, I remember one class that we've done was called Cultural Dimension, where they explain to us sometimes why we think how we think.
Yeah.
And how the cultures that we are coming from influences how our thought process is. Yeah, and also how the gap exists between our culture and the Canadian culture, and how we can bridge those gaps. And me, for
Yeah.
me, the course that I said the course that I'm studying, for instance, is a management program. So they are teaching us currently how to set up businesses in Canada, the process that you need to go through. So even though the training has to be managers in Canada, they are training you also to be an entrepreneur, and they expose you to the opportunities. So in Canada here, they tell you that everything is possible. Don't limit yourself. Instead of just saying that this is not possible, ask yourself, what can I do to make it possible? And the other thing that I also learned is also trying to find resources. Sometimes the fact that you don't know doesn't mean the thing doesn't work. Try to
Yeah.
find somebody who can help you get it done. So don't put too much stress on yourself. Sometimes you have to ask the next person and say, how can I do this? And they'll point you in the right direction. So that you don't have to do everything all by yourself. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think you're so right though. It's just especially when you first come here, it's gonna be a lot of cultural shock. But even me myself, when I came, I was a bit younger, but even now I still continue to experience, but I think the learning and the journey throughout is quite amazing.
Yeah.
And just speaking of, the cultural and trying to, find your feet in Winnipeg now, is there anyone in particular that when you came has been really inspirational to you in your Canadian journey so far?
So for me, I would say before I came in, the plan was to move to Canada in 2020. That was
2020,
pre-COVID.
okay.
And yeah, and I say this journey humbled me because before moving to Canada, I remember 2019, I decided to travel around and see which country I can move to. So the plan was, okay, I'm going to go to Germany, visit US, then I'll visit Canada.
Yeah.
Then I'll make a decision on which country to move to. Then COVID hit.
Okay.
So I had to stay home. So before I came in last year, I think I had planned out everything almost to the day of everything that I'll be doing. But I got here and I realized that you can plan, but you need people. The people who helped me settle my first 2 weeks here were people that I didn't even know before getting to Canada. There's one guy that I don't know whether he will be cool with me mentioning his name. He actually took me in and shared his room with me, which was something that for me was surprising because in my head I was like, oh, I will land in Canada, I will check into my Airbnb, then I will go around looking for accommodation, like something simple as that. That was what in my mind I was going to be.
Yeah.
But one of my friends was like, let me reach out to some of my colleagues out there and see who can help you. I was like, don't worry, I can survive. So he reached out to one guy and he was like, oh, don't worry, when you come, I'll host you. I landed and he said, oh, my place is not available, but I have a friend who will receive you. I was like, let me be open-minded and see how it goes. He took me in and his wife was bringing food. This other guy was cooking food. The first 2 weeks, I felt like a king.
Wow.
Just lying in the room, eating, and like they treated me well. I was like, wow, this for me, this was new. And so far, I feel indebted to these two people. And they've become like brothers to me in our family. Today, I met the guy and the wife at church, and the wife was like, we thought we were going to come last week because we had some jollof for you to pick up. I'm like, wow.
And these are Ghanaian people?
Yeah.
Wow.
Before coming to Winnipeg, in my mind, I didn't think there were even Ghanaians here.
Wow. I think I want to really continue on that though. Speaking of that in particular area, because I know most people when they come to Canada, it's all about Ontario, Toronto, and so forth. And I know you were living on the other side, which is the West. Can you tell us a little bit more then why people should consider those provinces when moving to Canada?
So what I would say is I think it comes down to research. And sometimes when we are doing research, we just limit ourselves to what is online.
Okay.
And the truth is most people don't want to have their life online. So if you go out there, you might not find them online. So, but if you reach out to a friend and say, okay, let me go on LinkedIn, for instance. Is there a Ghanaian in Winnipeg? Let me reach out to this person. Connect me to a group. And now there are WhatsApp groups all out there. All it takes is somebody to put you in one.
Yeah.
Then you start building connections with people. Because Ghanaians, we are all over the place. When I go to Winippeg, the first week, my host who received me took me to a football pitch to go and play football. We got there, and I think there were about almost 50 Ghanaians on the pitch.
Wow. In Winnipeg.
Yeah.
50 Ghanaians in Winnipeg.
And I remember I was like, are all these people Ghanaians? It's like, yeah. They showed up, we played football, then everybody dispersed. I was like, wow, so there's actually a community out here.
Yes.
So my advice to people is, wherever you are going, try and find find somebody there, ask around. Then try and find that community. All it takes is if you get to know one person, you will be able to locate the rest. And people are ready to help you when you come in. That's the truth.
Yes.
When I came in, the first church service that we went to, the pastor announced that it's a newcomers day. So if you have any free thing that you want to give to people, bring it.
Yeah.
I went and I was trying to be gentle, not picking up things. There was one guy came and said, Evans, see, you need plates. He took, and I'm still using the plates.
Yeah.
He carried plates 8 and gave it to me. Brought winter boots and said, this is for you. They gave me groceries. Like people are out there and they are ready to help.
Wow. So you would say that the Ghanaian community in Canada in general is very receptive. And just not to make comparison though, but based on your traveling to other countries, did you find similar hospitality like what you experienced when you came to Canada and Winnipeg specifically?
No, I think I would say this was different because from my
different.
Yeah, my experience traveling around, we Ghanaians, we try to stay away from each other because you don't want people to get into get nosing about your issues.
Yes.
So you try to stay away and say, okay, let me just be in my corner. Even if you're asking for information, people are a little hesitant because they feel that, okay, if I tell this person about this, how is he going to use this information against me? But here, you just have to ask and say, and somebody is always open, at least to support. To make an example, yesterday I was asking about cars and I was like, okay, come, I think this is what you they will just give you the information, tell you what they did wrong, then you can correct it so I don't repeat the same mistakes.
Wow. So I think it makes Canada very, very special. And I think it's not just only you saying it, but even when I watch videos from MC Milo, Vince TV, Life Goes On Entertainment, they kind of allude to the same thing. When you have all these international students coming in, they welcome them. Some people go as far as even going to pick up at the airport to really, really help them. So I think it's very, very interesting to hear your perspective as well. Now, moving on to things that you like about Canada. I know you talk about the hospitality. What else do you really like about Canada when you first came in? Like, wow, this is something different. What did you really like or enjoy so far in Canada?
So for me, I would say the system, if I can put it that way. The system. Yeah.
What about the system?
So when I say system, in terms of structures, knowing where to go, if you need something, it might not be swift, but you will get it. A typical example was when I landed and I needed a bank account. I remember I walked into the bank with my host and they were like, okay, there's no appointment. The next appointment date is 1 week away. For me, it was weird. I'm like, I'm opening a bank account and I have to wait for 1 week appointment. But when that 1 week came in and I walked into the bank and I had the documents, I walked out with everything that I needed. From there, we just walked to another place to pick up a cell phone plan. Yeah. And like even getting job, it's like there's a process for how the thing is supposed to work. And that process actually works. So for me, the system actually works. That's one for me. It's something that, and also I'll say the weather.
You like the weather?
Yeah, the weather. Yeah.
What? You like the weather?
Yeah, I think
that's surprising. You're from Ghana.
Yeah, I've enjoyed the weather. If you watch my YouTube, there were times where I remember one time that I missed my bus and I walk through the code. I go home, all icy face. But that's me. I was actually enjoying the experience because in
Yeah.
Ghana, I spent most of my time driving around.
Yeah.
So here, sometimes just passing and doing the Uber thing, it's like you get to see more. So for me,
you like the weather. Wow. Well, you're a true Canadian. You're a true Canadian. Just let's talk a little bit about your YouTube channel, because I know you're also out there helping individuals through the medium and the outlet that you have.
Yeah.
What has been the drive behind the YouTube channel, and what are you trying to accomplish?
So for me, my YouTube channel, I say, was born out of the need to try and help people.
Okay.
Because just speaking to my own journey, I realized that most Africans don't like to share. And when I say even Africans, I'll say most Ghanaians don't like to share.
Don't like to share, okay.
Because when I decided to embark on this journey, and I told you this before, the Canada journey humbled me.
Wow.
Because in my mind, for the last 20 or so years, I've applied for my own visas, and refusal is not something that I've seen much of.
Right.
So I think I got to a point where I knew what to do to at least get approvals and everything.
Right.
Yeah. When I applied for the Canadian study permits, I actually had the US multiple entry visa, I had the UK multiple entry visa, I had the Schengen multiple entry visa, and I actually had a Canadian multiple entry visa. But I was still putting a study permit application, and I was refused. I'm like, wow, what's going on here? And my first application actually took like a year to get response to, because I think it was during the COVID time.
Right.
So during that period, I learned a lot. And I also saw how people were being taken advantage of, because nobody is sharing the information. For me, most of the information I got was from our Nigerian brothers who were traveling. You will listen and watch and all that. And along the way, me personally, there were times where I met people who you thought were genuine, and they will end up scamming you one way or the other, if I can put it in quotes. Where even lawyers who took money, that later you realize that even though they are qualified registered Canadian immigration lawyers, they were making administrative errors on applications that are getting you into trouble.
True.
But just because you have armed yourself with information, you're able to point it out and say, oh, why you did this wrong here, you should change this one. A typical example was, after my refusal, I took it said to pursue judicial review, where, if you know judicial review, like you are taking the Canadian immigration to court. And the lawyer that was supposed to lead my judicial review application is one of the big names on YouTube. And this guy made administrative errors, and my application was it didn't even get to the court for 4 months, and he wasn't even aware that that application hasn't gotten there. So for me, I started YouTube. I'm like, okay, let me just share my experience so that others can also learn from it. So most people that I've interacted with, I always say, I'm not, especially when it comes to one-on-one, I tell them I'm not here to teach you what to do.
Right.
I expect you to go and read and understand. Then we judge, or I'll tell you, do this. Then you question and say, how about this? Because you also educated yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's where I would say the YouTube idea came from. Just to share my experience so that people can also learn from it.
Yeah. That's amazing. I think even I'm on the same sort of boat as you, and I also do the YouTube channel just to help the family out there. And I think you hit a very good point. A lot of people, sometimes you get all these messages, and the expectation is that you do everything for them. What would you also advise individuals that would like to come to Canada? What are some of the steps they should take, and what they should do to actually come in? Because it becomes a lot tedious for us to just babysit and spoon phone. What would be your advice for these individuals in general?
So what I tell them is, if your plan is to come to Canada, don't kill that dream. There's a phrase I always say. I say, delay is not denial. The fact that there's a delay in the process doesn't mean you've been denied access.
Right.
Also, make sure you educate yourself.
Educate yourself, yeah.
We always say, if you are given a week to cut down a tree, you use like 5 days to sharpen the axe. What most people do is they are in a rush. So they end up making mistakes or trusting people who they shouldn't trust. You go online. The thing about the Canadian immigration stuff is it's mostly online. There's so much information out there. Even if you are following the IRCC Twitter account, there's so much information that they are putting out there. You read it, you arm yourself. And when you reach out to somebody to help you, it's not like the person is babysitting you.
Yes.
That person is like becoming a second eye.
Yeah.
To check some of the things that you are doing.
Right.
So that they can guide you through it. And some people just reach out without even doing any research.
Yes.
When I started this, I was doing free consultation. And I can tell you for a fact, the first 10 people who reached out to me didn't even show up.
Wow.
And those who show up, they show up and they will ask you, "Oh, can you get me a connection man to connect me to?" I'm like, what do you need a connection man for?
Right.
Yeah, because you realize the person doesn't even know what the whole thing entails. They don't even know. They've heard people are going, and they also want to go some. Like how we say it in Ghana. But if your aim is to move,
yes,
read about the process, learn, arm yourself with information.
Right.
Then, if you think you need to reach out to somebody to help you, you reach out to that person and say, "Okay, this is where I'm stuck. Can you point me in the right direction?" Then the person will point you. So the person is not actually going to spoon feed you. The person is just directing your path so that you learn from his or her mistakes to just make yours better.
Right. Yeah, I think you made a very good point, man. I mean, you gotta do some of the lifting, right? Then we can also help you out. So that's very, very informative. Is there anybody you like to give a shout out to, a family member or anybody that you'd like to give a shout out to?
Oh, so when it comes to shout out, I always say there's this group of people that held me down.
Yeah.
We call them judicial review buddies, steer buddies.
Okay.
A group of people from Ghana, Nigeria, around the world.
Yes.
Where, there was a time where most of us had our applications refused, and you hear some of the stories, and it's funny. And we became like a support group to support each other.
Right.
Yeah. Funny enough, we are all in Canada now. And I always say shout out to these guys because during the dark times, they held me down.
Yeah.
And also to those two people who held me down when I landed in Winippeg.
Yeah.
Frank and Abdul. I always say I'm indebted to these two people.
Right.
They are like family to me. And I remember I always tell them, just call on me and I'll be there. Because those 2 weeks, if they were not there, trust me, things would have been difficult.
Yeah. And it's so true though. It's so true. It's like whoever that you meet is either they make your life easy or they make your life difficult. So true. So then would you advise people to come to Canada then? As your last word to the audience, would you really advise people to choose Canada as a destination?
What I would say is yes, if you aim, but do your research.
Do your research
because as much as you see the fun out there and people say it's the land of milk and honey, you also have to know that sometimes to get to that honey, you need to go through the bees, because the bees are there and they will whip you. And even if you are going to get to that milk, you might have to milk that cow.
Yeah.
So there's work that needs to be done. So be prepared to do the work. Don't just say, I just want to be there and expect yourself to be there. Do the work. Because even if you are coming in here with ready, you will get here and things will not be as you thought.
Yeah.
I was using my example that I said I'll come in, first 2 weeks, Airbnb. That time that the guy hosted me, that was staying with him. Trust me, that's like, you know rent in Canada. 2 weeks, that's like $700 that he has put in my pocket.
Yeah.
Compared to, and even accommodation for 2 weeks, I couldn't get accommodation, even though I had my money ready.
Yeah.
And you go to a landlord and they will tell you that, can you send me your reference? You say, I just came in. they are like, okay, you hear from us, and that's the end of it.
That's it.
Yeah. So you can come in prepared, but just make sure you are ready to grind. Because before you get to the fun part, you need to go through the mud. Come ready and do your research.
Do your research, yeah.
You will enjoy Canada. If you don't, and you just follow the crowd and say everybody is going, so me too, I'm going, and you don't prepare, you will get here and it wouldn't be the land of milk and honey that
opportunity. Yeah,
well said. Talking about.
Yeah, I think I mean, you're probably gonna add this one to this as well, just to kind of benefit the influx of people coming in, all this, especially the international students. So what are some of your survivor kits or some of your survivor menus? Because I think most of them, when they come here, they're struggling to adapt in terms of language, how to behave, how to communicate, and different things. Sometimes they even ignore the fact that when you come in, you can get your social insurance number right away, get your driver's license, and all these little things. What would you advise this individual? What is your toolkit for this individual that are already here or also coming in?
So in terms of toolkit, I'll break it down into two parts. That will be before and after you come in.
Right.
The before you come in part, I say go online, watch. Now there are a lot of people who are documenting their journey.
Yes.
Let's watch it and pick learnings from it. Go online, read about the processes. The things that you need, because if people are putting information out there on what you need to do the first week, you note it down. Okay, these are the things that I need to do the first week I get to this city that I'm going to. How do I get these things done? Then now you try and reach out to somebody, and I say put yourself in a WhatsApp group or one of those groups where you have other people who are having the same interest like you. Where you can share ideas, ask questions, and people will get back to you.
Right.
So that you know and you learn. And also when you are coming in, make sure you have enough money on you. My advice is try as much as possible. At least your first year tuition fee, have it paid off. Even if you have to borrow money from people to pay it off. When you get here and you have done that, it gives you peace of mind. Because instead of you working to pay for your tuition fee, now you might be working to save.
Okay.
So, and funny thing is, if you are looking for a job because you need to make money to survive, you might end up picking jobs that you don't actually need to.
Right.
Or you might be very desperate, you might not even get those jobs. But if you are looking for a job because you need to save, you are more relaxed. Because you are prepared, you go into the interview ready to impress, and you are even selective in the kind of jobs that you even pick. When I came in, I remember telling people, "Oh, I don't plan on working the first couple of months," but I got my first job the first week I landed here.
Wow, you got a first job in Canada first week?
Yes, and I would say I was like relaxed. I remember when I walked into the interview. I was relaxed. Actually, told the employer, I almost didn't even apply for this job. And he's like, "Why?" I said, "I checked your website out and it looked fraudulent because the license to the website had expired. So my antivirus alerted me that your website, I shouldn't trust it." So guess what? It shifted the conversation from him asking me about how I'm going to get a job done to trying to solve a problem that he had from day one.
Right.
So the first interview, we were solving an issue about his website.
Wow.
And the person knows you can get the work done.
Yeah. So that's the first part when you come in. That's the preparation. But what about when you are here?
So when you are here, so that's what I'm saying. So you getting the money is one. It gives you peace of mind when you are here. And when you are here, find a community. What most of us end up doing is we want to do things on our own. So you come in and you are in your own small corner trying to survive. Find a community. The process that you are going through now, people have gone through it before.
Right.
So find a community, you talk to them, people will point you in the right direction. People will even recommend jobs for you and say, "Okay, I'm working in this company. give me your CV, let me submit it for you. And recommendation actually works because if the person is a good employee and is referring you, there's a high chance they will pick you. And most of the jobs that I get recruited for, sometimes they don't even show up on any website.
Yeah,
with
true.
these references, then you get the job, then you move on. And also try and learn how to have some skills. If you are a guy, you know how to cut hair, that's a way you can start making money quickly. If you're a lady, you know how to cook. It's something that you can do on the side.
Yeah.
Because if you're a student, you might not get time to work so much. But some of these side gigs can at least bring in extra income to support you. And also learn how to cook for yourself because you can't be eating out every day.
Right.
If you decide to eat out every day, one meal might cost you $15.
Right.
If you keep going for 30 days, that's almost $750. That's gone. So you learn how to cook for yourself so that you can prepare your own breakfast, lunch, and all that. And also keep an open mind because Canada is very liberal. You get here and there are a lot of things that will shock you.
Yes.
I got here. I remember I went to school once, and outside the school entrance, there was one guy standing there holding his blunt. I was like,
holding his what?
He was holding his weed. I was like, huh? And I went to class and I mentioned it, and they're like, yeah, it's legal. So as long as the person is not inconveniencing somebody,
it's good.
Yeah. And so just keep an open mind.
Right.
Find a community.
Yes.
Yeah. And you should be okay.
Excellent.
And the other thing too is I think most people too, the first couple of weeks, if they haven't found any job, they become desperate. It's like,
okay,
what's going on? I need to get a job. Just if you came in with money, you can relax and give yourself time and not be desperate. Then you can now start the school on a good footing so that when the job comes in, you have at least accumulated enough good grades that if your grades are falling, you can still be in good standing. Yeah.
Wow. Powerful events. This is such an inspiration and a blessing to myself, and I think this video is gonna go viral and really help other individuals out there. Just the few minutes that we have, if you wanna like to conclude or your final message to the audience, just to wrap up what we just talked about.
Oh, so I wouldn't say much. I think that now, luckily, there are a lot of Ghanaians out there who are putting out content about immigration in Canada, immigration and how to move, education. People who are arriving are sharing their stories.
Yes.
So what I'll tell people is just show some love to them. And also, if you are reaching out to them, just make sure you are not abusing their time.
Yes.
Do your research. Don't go and be asking, so how do I apply for school? He cannot go and babysit you about that one.
Right.
Instead, if you go and you're asking questions like, oh, I've gotten this admission, this is the information, what do you advise? He can advise you. And the other thing too is read and read. Do your research.
Read.
Because things are changing every day.
Right.
I remember when I landed in Canada, students were allowed to work 20 hours. Before the year ended, students were allowed to work unlimited hours.
Yes.
Things are changing. So if you are not refreshing your knowledge, if you are watching somebody before August, the person will be telling you can work 20 hours. If you are watching somebody after August, the person will be telling you can work unlimited hours.
Right.
If you are watching the same person after January, he'll be telling you that if your visa was approved after that date that was given, you can only work 20 hours.
Right.
So you see, if you're not careful, it will be conflicting. But if you have read and you understand, you can now understand where that message is coming from.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So Mr. Evans, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And we'll connect again. God bless you.
Thank you.